detailed erotica that was just like, had me on the edge of my seat. Like I've been waiting for these characters to hit that moment, and it was just like, and like I said, I almost threw my Kindle against the wall because it was just like so like brain rattling, right? And then this asshole writes a Pornhub paragraph and he thinks that, oh, it's all the right words in all the right places. It's like, I don't understand why people are mad at me. It must be because I'm a man, and it's like, oh my God, bro. Oh my God. Meanwhile, well, yeah, of course.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, the guys that I would love to see them write erotica, they won't.
Right.
I mean, again, enough for me to throw a Kindle against the wall. It's like, no, I want you to write this, and they go, no. I mean, Jose wrote this paragraph. I swear to God, had me screaming, and I literally went to him. It was just a throwaway paragraph. Was it? No, it was just like a moment, right? In a novel that he wrote. And I went to him literally going, this, you're holding out on me. I need you to write more of this. And he just laughs and he goes, no. Oh my goodness. Good morning, Nita. This is your fault.
Yeah, it is. My bad. Good morning, everyone. It is October 30th, 2023, and this is the Ragin to the Vlogs.
I do miss House of Bob. I don't know. There's just something about talking about this in the morning that seems inappropriate.
Have your coffee, people, because we're about to 18 and up this show.
Oh, maybe not really. Not really. I don't know. There's a lot of things I want to talk about.
Do it. So. Bring all the horns.
Oh,
you ready for this?
Absolutely not. But hit it.
And I'm back with enough energy drink in me to have it.
Oh my God! Don't say that. Oh, at least you're feeling better. At least it's obvious you're feeling better. I mean, honestly, I had completely forgotten. I'm talking to you, and I completely forgot that shit happened.
It's because the stammering is very minimal now. Very minimal. My face is straightened out. The only issue I got left is my hand is still not where I want it to be. Like I can actually pick up a few things now, but my grip, if I'm not concentrating on it, it tends to slip through.
Oh no!
But we're working on that.
Oh, that's good.
Constant physical therapy on the spine and the hand. Yeah, whatever. I'll be back to normal. Be like, I'll be getting it right in no time. Practice makes perfect.
Oh my God. It's like, oh, are you guys in for a morning today? Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Look, you may be watching Brian K. Morris right now. Look,
you might want to stay there.
Either you want to stay there or he ain't talking about shit as interesting as what we're talking about now. Oh my goodness!
You gotta be able to ground those hard objects.
I know. Yes, for real,
and grip them too.
Oh my goodness!
Whatever.
Yeah. So So obviously, so who else is in the chat joining
All right.
us for this hot mess
We
of a
got
Monday?
William Russell,
Hello.
Medina, and Joseph.
Hello.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning. And yes,
eyeball people.
Eyeball people, always the eyeball people. They're always here for us, the eyeball people. Thank you so much for joining us from regions beyond. If you're watching us from Facebook, if you're watching us from Twitter, come on over to YouTube, because Facebook really hates these conversations.
Ooh. Yeah, we'll probably be off Facebook.
It's like come on over, because it's like, Facebook gives us a hard time, and Twitter doesn't even allow us to see your comments, and LinkedIn we're just going to accept what it is.
Oh yeah, I don't know what LinkedIn is, what they tolerate or whatever, but
hello, yes,
I look forward to the first ban.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. So, hello everyone. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and you know what that means.
You don't understand. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
And I am known for the furry fantasy adventure Tall Tales, which returns to Kickstarter in 2024 with the brand new story arc, Tears the Mother, with the brand new release of issue 6, along with a re-release and a reissue of issues 1 through 5 of this 8-issue limited series. And I am also known for my medieval fantasy drama, EGORAVEN, Heir of the First Unicorn, which returns in 2024 with issue 8 of this 15-issue series. So we're already on issue 8. So, oh my goodness. So so keep an eye out for that. Also, you can read both my comics online at Tall Tales. That's TAILS online.com and egoworks.com, EGOWORKS. And there's a link to Tall Tales at that page as well. Where you can you can check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at my channel at Daphne Lage, LAGE Art, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you get notified whenever any of our shows go live. And to tell you more about it, here is Nita.
There's not much more to say. You always put me in this position. It's awkward. To tell you more about it, it's Nita. Oh, okay. Right. We have shows and stuff on Indie Comics Network about indie comics and small press publishing and stuff, and it's all at indiecomicsnetwork.com.
It's .com.
Got. I feel like I'm supposed to say something profound, and I never have it, so I just speak over myself. I'm like,
no, that's well,
it's my damn YouTube channel. Yeah, the people I like on it.
There you go. That's what it boils down to. Right.
And a couple that
we're not CNN, and especially today we are not CNN because you will definitely not hear dick jokes on CNN. You don't go to CNN for dick jokes. Just like
come here
us for news.
Come here.
What?
Oh my God! It was brilliant.
Right. Well, so to give context, today is going to be an episode of all about context.
Ooh.
So what happened first thing this morning? Holy shit. Nita post. You have to go to her face. If you're not following Nita on Facebook, please do. Links are in the show notes. So she had posted I guess like something about some dude. I guess it's a British guy. I don't know. I don't know who it is, So some dude decided that he, like several years ago, he was going to write a novel. And not only was this novel critically panned when he released it, but he had the distinction of winning, the equivalent of the Raspberry Award.
The worst sex scene award.
It is the absolute worst sex scene award ever written. It's like worst sex scene ever written. And the guy got his panties in a twist over that because it's like, this is a guy who I don't know who the fuck he is and I don't care, but just
I want to know everything about him now.
But just seeing his reaction to it is, I'll never think about Zorro the same way again. That's for sure. It's like, because obviously that this is a guy who's, I guess he writes for a major newspaper, and I guess he's infamous for not allowing editors to edit his stuff.
Huh.
So, like, he literally lost a tit trying, complaining about an editor who took one word out of one of his columns. So,
Daphne, you want to 18 and up this show, and you want to read the excerpt?
no, you know
Come
what?
on,
No,
let me read it.
no,
Come on,
no,
let me.
no,
You're
no.
no
We're
fun,
not.
lady.
No. I am not going to sully this show with that garbage,
But-
especially since last night. No, if I'm going to read anything out loud, I'm going to read the shit that I read last night. I'm going to
You are
give you
no
the
fun.
good shit.
You are no fun.
I am going to give the people the good shit.
I'll be going live on Facebook for a reading later today.
For 30 seconds, because that's all it's going to take you to read. It's going to take you longer to create the Facebook Live than it is for you to read this paragraph. So if you want to read it yourself, like I said, go to Nita's Facebook page and read this absolute nonsense that, honestly, the more I think about it, the more it pisses me off. Because, like I said, it's like, if everyone who remembers House of Bob, right? I remember talking about, why don't more men write erotica? Usually erotica and romance is completely dominated by women. Jesus Christ, even gay erotica is mostly dominated by women. And it's like, and I remember people telling me in the chat, oh, Jesus Christ, no. You know what? Pause the screen if you want to read that later on the replay, but I have no responsibility for that.
That's all me. Me.
Yeah. So it's like, so I was kept getting told from the chat that guys don't write erotica because Pornhub is right there.
Right.
They don't feel the need to have to go into loving detail about shit. And also somebody had mentioned something that still kind of irked me, and it actually was kind of like a little hurtful as well. Because they had said that it's like, well, the secret to good erotica is knowing the emotional state of your partner and how they feel. And he goes, guys don't give a shit. And
not all men.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I would like to say, the one time that I think is necessary to use that phrase, because I would like to think that, so, and this was literally a 1-paragraph sex scene written like a 12-year-old, just saw Pornhub for the first time. And it's like, I don't even see the point of it. It's like I'm thinking, like, why did you even think that this thing had to be here? Like, what? It's like, are you an alien? Someone had said that it's like, it was like sex being described by Chief Wiggum from The Simpsons, or Ralph Wiggum.
I tortured Nick with it too.
Yeah, no, it's like we had a good time in the comments with look, I wasn't expecting this to be my topic for today either, but it kind of
dovetails.
It kind of fit in to what I originally wanted to talk about, which is so again, like I said, this show is going to be full of context. So I just want to thank everybody who pledged to EGORAVEN, the Unicorn King's Daughter. The campaign closed out on Friday to 233 backers on the campaign, raising about like $7,800 on the campaign. I just want to thank everybody for coming out for that campaign, and I hope that most of you at least stay for the regular, for the main series as well. So, it's like I'm still kind of like riding off the high of that. I am going to be I'm just waiting for a couple of stragglers to fix their stuff on the campaign. I have like 9 people who have to update their payments because that's how many dropped pledges I'm about to have. if they don't fix their shit this week. So I'm just waiting for that, and then I'm going to start sending stuff out to get produced. So yeah, so it's just like so there was so during that campaign, I had collaborated with Krista Crawford, who's doing a novel. Who's she's been doing novels for a little bit. She started out in comics and is doing novels, right? And because of this collaboration, I was spending a lot of time on romance fantasy novel side of Kickstarter, which was a very interesting research that I was doing to see. It's like, what are they doing and whatnot, right? Especially since I've from the very beginning, I've always had an interest in writing novels. I mean, it's like the first EGORAVEN story that I wrote is technically, it's a short story. It's the Legend of Silk Rose, the prose illustrated prose story that I did. And then when I started producing Heir of the First Unicorn in earnest on Kickstarter, last year, you all remember how I completely went into a frenzy needing to write a novel. So in that year, I ended up writing the sequel pretty much to Heir of the First Unicorn, Cult of the Wolf Witch, which not only does it continues EGORAVEN's story in a prose setting, it's also the book that technically officially introduces Loki into the canon. Well, into that main canon. Technically, the Unicorn King's daughter introduces him in my side canon. If you guys are familiar with the doodles, the Unicorn King's daughter and Medieval Unicorn Viking Slut is pretty much a comic book version of the doodles that came out of the joke about the Kickstarter algorithm. Yes, accountability and being able to find folks who can give you quality critique is important. It's true. It's very true, especially yeah, I know. Look, all I know is that yeah. All I know, look, he'd be laughing about that too. So, especially to the two brave souls who bought the nude Loki variant cover on the campaign. Thank you so much for that. So, let's just say that I don't know, like if you're going to write about dicks, you don't want the word teeth in the same sentence. I don't know. It's like
his grammar. Okay, like screw the fact that he can't write a fucking erotic scene that arouses people. Okay,
right?
Oh my god, there's no punctuation, complete run-on sentences here. I mean, like, come on.
But editors ruin his writing.
Ruin his writing.
Yeah, because it's like, look, I spent 3 years, thinking. This guy literally said he spent 3 years putting the right words in the perfect places, and I go, bro, bro. So the other day, not this, Nita showed me a screen grab from a comic book company that pretty much was changing their name.
Not at all, bro.
The 300 monkeys, writing Shakespeare, even they're going, it's like, holy shit, bro. So Nita showed me this company that was changing their name from whatever comics to whatever publishing. And what they explained is that they realized that the initial comic that they wanted to do was going to take 80 issues for them to complete. And they decided, I know, really.
I made the word crap.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Oh, context. So that it was going to take 80 issues for them to do, and they decided that we're not going to be able to afford to do 80 issues of this story, so we're going to be converting the story to prose novels.
Right.
Now, the thing is, though, it's like I told Nita, and honestly, this part I said in all seriousness. It's like I love it when they do that. Because like I said, I want to get more into novels. I want to combine the two. I want to combine comics and illustration and prose and, and have people enjoy kind of like all three at the same time.
Like Gleason.
And it's like, and it was just really funny to see how many comic book artists are making that transition as well, because it makes me feel not like I'm not crazy. Like I'm not crazy to think that novel writers would read comics and comic readers would read, won't read novels. I mean, it's like I'm not crazy to think that they won't do one or the other, especially after seeing how many novelists were using like anime inspired imagery on their novel Kickstarters. I mean, I literally made the joke that it's like, oh, according to the USA Today bestseller, authors, I need more chibis on my campaign. I mean, really, it was just really, really funny to see that. And I go, you know what? I cannot, I cannot believe that there isn't crossover potential here.
Right.
And especially with the author that I'm reading now, Myra Danvers. I mean, like I said, she literally spoke about Travis Gibb in her updates. She updated, she gave an update with Cremisi on it by Isaac Fox and Mr. Suzumi. I mean, it's like she shouted out Pat Shand. So it's like, you know what? Don't tell me there's no overlap.
Well, there's an overlap, especially in people who read. Okay, so if you're into comics, chances are you're a fucking nerd. Right. Nerds read. Okay, now if you read, I mean, and granted, there's people that don't read comics, but you're more likely to find that conversion in people who read comics to get them to read a novel than you are someone who reads a novel to read comics, because there are a lot of uppity people who prefer novels, who think that comics are childish and immature or whatever, and it's like.
Right. Well, so the
turn these pages.
Right. Exactly. So, so it's like, so like I said, I really want, it's like, it's good to be versed in as many different mediums as possible. Look at light novels and manga's relationship. Absolutely. Actually, that was part of what pushed me in this direction, because it's like, I kept having
over the
people
edge.
telling me that's like, oh, novels and, it's like, novels and comics don't go together. And then you look at manga and it's like, well, I don't know. Manga readers have no problem making that transition. Right. So again, and also there, I began to see a lot of other comic book artists convert work into novels, which is funny because that's how Jose did it. Oswald started off as a series of novels before he started doing them as comics. And now he's beginning to go in the other direction again. Now he wants to do, now he wants to go back to doing novels, converting the comics back into novels. So it's like everyone, time is a flat circle, right? And exactly. John started off as a novelist who did comics, and it's like, and then it's like we have it's like, and then I saw Mary Bellamy, that she's converting her Faux Facts series and her Aw Heck comic book series into YA novels. We're seeing, like D Fish, she did like a 7-volume novel series that was supposed to be as a comic, and even she says, I can't, this is too much. And she's prolific, but like crazy.
Vast. This is everybody pretty much talking about this. But can I just be the cunt that comes in and smashes dreams?
Oh, well, of course. Why not? That's what we're here for.
All right. So here we go. Daphne, you've got years of stories to fucking tell. I understand your need to put novels out, because if you sat around, not only can some of your stuff not be translated into comics because of the complexity of the art or whatnot. I get that. The company that brought up the 80 books, I get that. Okay. D Fish, I understand. But some of these people are jumping because they say it's easier and cheaper.
Well,
I am.
Well, you see, I had brought.
Well, easier. Okay,
I know.
And what you said the other day, laugh in indie comics publishing.
Yeah, no, that was in reference there was an author who was pretty much shit talking independent novelists,
Right.
saying that if you're not working with a publisher, it's because you're taking the easy way out. And of course, everybody was just like,
well, that's what
the
they're
fuck
thinking.
are you
I've
talking
actually
about?
read somebody said that it would be an easier approach to put stuff out in novel form. And I'm thinking to
Right.
myself, bitch,
Yeah.
you ain't even got started
Well,
yet.
you
Oh
see,
my God.
okay, here's the thing, because I brought this up to Jose, and this is what Jose said. So he says, one, when you're talking about it being cheaper, he says, absolutely, it's a lot less expensive.
Because you don't have to hire an artist if
Right,
if you're not doing
because
the art yourself.
like say that 80, that 80 issue thing, right?
Right.
He used that as an example.
Okay.
Doing Jose math on, doing the Jose math on it, he said that to do an 80 issue series would cost over $100,000.
It would. It'd be about $160,000. And that's low end.
Right. Exactly. That's low end.
Right.
Or actually, Jose said it was more average, but
I'm still saying low end because I would say I like quality art.
Yeah. So because what we've seen is that a lot of people don't shop for artists the way Jose shops for artists. So yeah, I would say that's the low end.
That's the
Which is fine, which is okay. And then he goes, it's like, look, if they want to think that writing a novel is easier, he says, have at it. I'm never gonna read it.
Oh, we're about to think some dumb shit. Like it's going to be the new trend on Kickstarter. It's going to be.
Saying, here's the thing, I don't even think. You know what's funny? And it's like I think that just like these people underestimated how difficult it is to do a comic, I think a lot of people are going to learn very quickly how difficult it is to do a novel. Because again, just because you could string words together doesn't mean you make something worth reading.
Well, I think for some of these people, I don't even think it was the ease. I think it became an issue of greed, because when you look at the comparison of the fantasy erotic novels versus comics, you look at these totals, and these people are getting $20,000-$30,000 like it's fucking nothing. Like it's rare to find a campaign that made under 10. Right. But here's the deal. You're going to have to come up with fucking stretch goals like you could never even begin to imagine in any comic. You're going to have to create an experience that these people are going to want. Not only your book, they're going to want to be invested in your entire universe, your entire fucking world. And I'm sorry to say this, but it's a lot easier to convince 100 people to back a fucking floppy comic book and take the risk with $15 to $24 than it's going to be to get people to spend $70 to $90. So I'm just waiting because all these fucking egos are about to fall on themselves. Right. And I'm just going to sit back and chuckle in indie comics.
That's even they make it that far.
If they make it that far.
That's the thing, because it's like, so the other day, and I think I keep saying the other day, but it was really like maybe like a couple of weeks ago. I don't know. It's like the other day,
it's the other day. It was the other day in old people.
Yeah. And right, exactly. That's exactly what that is. I came across I had forgotten that I did this. I came across the skeleton, the very early skeleton of me trying to write EGORAVEN, HEIR the First Unicorn as a novel, because my idea even now is that a novel I could do as an audiobook. And so technically I'm and it's like, and I really do enjoy I love getting ideas established as novellas. Then if you want to go back to use that IP as a comic, well, that's a way of that's true. I'm hearing from more folks who work with publishers that you have to prove yourself first. Yes, because no, absolutely. That's exactly what D. Fish had said, that it took her, it took her less time to write a 7-volume novel series than it would for her to even try to do the first book as a comic book series. Just the first book, and she got the entire thing. Now that's the thing, though. Where there's a huge difference between vanity press and independent publishing.
Right.
Vanity press, which we do have in comics. There are these people who say that,
they're there.
You pay us to print your book, you know, to publish your book, and maybe we'll promote your stuff and maybe we won't. You know, usually
They don't.
Usually they don't.
But they'll charge you $2,400.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and you know, and then there's indie publishing, and it seems that there's just as many authors publishing their stuff independently that as there are comic book people. It's just that with us it's ubiquitous and we just ignore anybody who says that that's not real comics. It's like, right. Okay, fuck off, whatever, then whatever, we're not worried about you. But I guess it's still a sore spot in traditional publishing. Yeah. Where it's like, if you're not going through a publisher, a lot of, you know, it's like they really look down. They treat vanity and independent as the same thing when it's not. So that's where that argument is coming from. So I found the skeleton, the beginning skeletons of a novel for EGORAVEN, HEIR the First Unicorn. And after the campaign had ended on Friday, right? Because after every Kickstarter campaign, I go through a period of bugging out.
Yes,
I start bugging out. I'm both exhausted and elated at the same time because the campaign is over. And I just needed to do something very different. Mind you, not to say I don't have work to do. I still have a commission to finish. I'm working on updating someone's website right now, and I'm about to be flooded with commission requests because I've been putting everybody off until this Monday and November. So I'm going to be flooded with this shit. So, but I really needed to do something really different. And I remember mentioning on a previous show that I was just hankering to write, but I didn't know what to write. So I just started playing around with a fanfic. I just started writing a fanfic because it's like, you know, why not? Right.
Why not?
Yeah. Well,
we all cope in our own ways.
Right. Exactly. We all cope in our own ways. So on Friday night, I found that, that skeleton for EGORAVEN, right? I currently have over 5,000 words transcribing. This is halfway through so I started doing the novel version of issue 1. I'm halfway through. I'm over 5,000 words right now. So I'm estimating that each issue would be around 10,000 words. And I'm treating each issue as a chapter in the novel. So 15 issues mean 15 chapters. And I bounced that off of Jose, and he said that it's like, yeah, that's kind of like how it works for him when he's converting comics to prose. Yes. Yes, we do. And we especially cope when you like and share and subscribe. So he said that was pretty much what he was getting at too. So I'm halfway done. So I'm halfway done with issue 1. And what I'm looking to do is, you know, I want the novel, I want the audiobook, I want the comic to be 3 different ways that you can enjoy the story. You know, it's not something that I want to do separately. Like I said, I want all of this to work together as one thing. It's just different, you know. So what I'm looking on doing with this first chapter is I probably want to offer it up on the next Kickstarter with issue 8 as either like a stretch goal or maybe something that everybody just gets regardless. Like maybe if you get issue 1, you'll get this chapter. If you're buying issue 1, you'll get this chapter. And because it's not going to be, you know, because it's like, you know,
well, that's a good way for the comic reader to decide whether or not the prose is something they're going to feel or not, and it perhaps can increase your backer count when you do go to the novel form.
Right? Yeah, exactly. It's like, how come this is not unlocked?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking, and then it's like as I finish each issue, that gets added to the campaign. And like I said, right now it's not something that I feel it's like I feel like I should charge people for, because you're talking about, you're seeing the story in kind of like a raw format, and it's kind of like, okay, you get to see this grow.
Right.
It's like as the series continues, um until we get to a final collection and a final collection of audiobooks on it, and and do the final edits and everything. And it's going to be illustrated as well. So I don't want to rush doing illustrations for these chapters. I want to save that for the end, because I think that right now it's the prose that's more important, and you have the comic anyway. So
There you go.
I don't need to illustrate anything right now. So if you want to get kind of like a sense of what I'm doing, if you follow me on Facebook, I've already put up like a couple of excerpts on my Facebook page that you can read. One with the comic page, and then you get to see the prose version of what it is that's in the comic. And hold on, I'm just trying to get my Kindle to work. What the heck, so I thought it would be a little fun for me to kind of like indulge everybody in some proper prose. Not the garbage that Nita insisted on tossing on the screen.
Everybody needs to read this garbage. Read this so you'll know not
what not to do.
What not to do. How not to write a sex scene.
Right. Well, but this is not what I'm reading. But this is not what I'm going to be reading. So, like I said, I took, for everybody who has their copy of EGORAVEN, I keep losing my bookmark, which is fine, because I'm literally, like I said, I'm literally halfway. The story that I've written so far literally ends on this last panel right here.
Right.
So this is the first scene in the comic that, what happened, Nita? What happened? Yeah, I know. What? Yeah,
never hear Zorro the same way. It's like,
like I said, talk about context.
Woo.
So here we have a scene, the opening scene to EGORAVEN issue 1, which is, what is this, like 4, 1, 2, 3, about 4 pages, roughly 4 pages of comic book art, right? And so that was, so that's where I figure I start. Might as well start from the beginning. And and it's like, look, if you guys really like to hear me read more, so we'll start with this. And if you guys want to hear me read more, maybe we can do that. Maybe I could read a new section every week, until we build up to the final issue, until we build up to the last page. I mean, tell me if you guys like the idea. But so let me just try to enlarge this so I can actually read it. I have to wear like a billion different glasses, and it's like, it's a whole thing. So like I said, so I guess I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this. So remember, it's the opening scene to EGORAVEN, Heir the First Unicorn, issue 1. So chapter 1, Heirs of the Valley. Dog barking shattered the silence of the lush forest, the young stag breaking through the brush with the frenzied hound close on his heels. The exuberant canine gave chase with delirious intent, relishing running with its quarry, unlike the 2 men who followed close behind. Disappearing, the stag bounded, with the unrelenting dog following, crashing through the branches, clawing and tearing at its coat. The 2 men, panting themselves from exertion, stopped their run, watching as the deer and the dog retreated from view. "He's going deeper into the forest," cried the one hunter to his companion, listening as the frantic barking faded into the distance. If we don't call him back, we'll never find him. The other hunter lurched forward and leaned on his bow in exhaustion, struggling to catch his breath. Let him, he huffed to his brother. Maybe that stag will die of exhaustion before any of our arrows do it in. Staring in the direction the dog had run, the younger of the two grunted, somewhat relieved at still being able to pick up the fading commotion. As long as they were able to hear the dog, it meant the chase still continued, with a chance they would be able to catch up. Hopefully their morning would not be completely wasted. Trying to put some distance between itself and the hound that relentlessly followed, the stag continued its run. Darting with the single-mindedness of the prey animal it was, it attempted escape, completely unaware of the something else that tracked it. Of the large figure seeming to keep pace with unnatural agility and stealth. Still keeping its focus on avoiding the dog and the hunters that followed behind, the stag made another desperate leap to lengthen the gap. The large blade appeared out of the bramble with a swiftness that even the most prepared would have found impossible to avoid, hot blood splattering against leaves and tree alike. Caught completely off guard, the stag didn't even have time to cry out as its life ended in an instant. It was a quick kill, but by no means a clean one. The two hunters continued their reluctant rest, readying themselves to return to their hunt when a high-pitched whine cut short pierced the air. Startling at the sound, the young men quickly shot back onto their feet. "Oh, great!" the hunter growled with both anger and concern as he clutched his bow tight. "The dumb beast got himself gored." The brother grimaced in response. Bolting in the direction of the noise, they tried to control their panic at the thought of losing their hunting dog to their carelessness. "Father is going to skin us alive if anything happened to the dog and we don't have venison to show for it." They ran until their feet caught on the flattened ground, almost making one of them slip. The grass beneath their feet was black with what they initially thought was fresh mud, but the metallic smell wafting into their nostrils revealed it to be something else. Looking down, trailing, the slick ended on the eviscerated remains of their hound. Gore fell freely from its wide-open belly, the large wound revealing that this was no mere wound from the antlers of a stag fighting for escape. Already horrified by the dog's corpse, they could not have anticipated the vision that crossed their eyes when they both stared ahead of them. The stag lay mutilated not far ahead, a massive spearhead digging roughly into its flesh. A low guttural snarl filled their ears as the dragon gripped the spear tighter and slowly turned its yellow gaze, baring even yellower teeth. This was not the wild wyverns of myth, but creatures from a different, darker place. Animals that lived deep in the far mountains, but now out in the open, almost in challenge to the world they were not supposed to be in. With rust-colored skin stretched tight over rippling muscles, it sported no wings. Dressed in what once would have been gleaming armor and scale mail, battered and weathered and tinted with extreme age. The long spear it held almost felt redundant, if not ridiculous, as the hind feet it walked on sported curved, lethal claws. Its golden eyes widened, pupils turning into slits as it lost its concentration on the stag and hyper-focused on the men intruding on its hunt. With shaking, terror-stricken hands, the hunter snatched an arrow from his quiver, muscle memory overriding any sense he might have had, completely overthinking that he was able to take down such a creature with a mere bow. "Dragons!" he cried, unable to find any other words to leave his mouth. The raptor whipped its tail as it turned directly at the brothers, its snarl bearing jagged teeth at them, with clawed hands tightening on the spear. The hunter readied his bow while his brother backed away, hoping the more primal reaction of running would be more than enough to help survive the experience. but the sliver of optimism faded as he was met by his own snarling shadow with yellow eyes. There were 2 of them. The raptors jumped with a lightness that contradicted their massive size, blurs of metal and scale, both spears cutting the air before meeting their marks. The brothers never returned home. So what do you think?
I think you're a mood killer.
Well, I mean, that's the opening scene.
But still,
you know,
we were having a good time, Daphne. You
right?
come in with your depression.
So the next time you open up issue 1, and that is pretty much how I describe this scene in prose,
right?
You know, so the thing is, though, is that I kind of think that most of it is kind of almost a 1-to-1. I didn't really add much to the prose, except for, you know, like a little more detail, you know, because after all, it's like now we're talking, I'm expecting people to visualize as opposed to you know, just looking at a picture. But it's the next scene where I thought it got a little interesting, because the next scene in issue 1 is the scene where it introduces EGORAVEN, and it kind of like sets the stage for the basis of the story. And this is where I found myself adding in more context, or not even more context, but just like adding some details that, to tell you the truth, has me wondering if I should try to shoehorn down the information somewhere down the line, but I'm not sure if it's really that important or that necessary. Because here's also the thing too. It's like, if you're reading a novelization of a comic, is it more fun to actually get more information out of the novel? Like that's not in the comic, but kind of explains more what's going on in the novel? I mean, because I kind of think that's more fun, you know? So what do you think? Like if you're reading a novelization, like, do you have like kind of an expectation? Like, do you prefer a 1-to-1, or is it like, I mean, I'm going to write this the way I'm going to write it regardless.
Well, sure.
But I'm just kind of wondering like what people think. It's like, you know, do you prefer a 1-to-1?
I'm just glad you're not writing in first person.
No, it's really,
I hate that shit.
No,
sorry,
no,
guys. Anybody
no.
who writes in first person, that's great for you.
I'm
Whatever. That's just not my bag.
Yeah, it's like, because that's the funny thing. That's something that a lot of romance fantasy that seems to be their thing, writing in first person, and it's kind of hard.
I want you to write in third person well enough that I feel the emotion that you're trying to force on me. With the first person perspective.
Yeah, and the thing that I don't like about first person is that in general, although I am making an exception for the book that I'm reading, you know, because in the end, if this is the type of stuff that I'm reading, and this is kind of like how they do it, you know, when in Rome, right? If I want to read more of romance fantasy, I kind of have to get used to the first person narrative. I prefer for third person because I like to switch between characters. You know, we still have a little bit of time. Do you guys want to hear the second scene of this, you know, introducing EGORAVEN and the story that kind of starts everything? Do you guys want to hear that, or we want to save that for the next episode? You know, I don't know. Because like I said, it's like there were like that when I wrote that scene, there were a bunch of like kind of like little details that I started adding, kind of explaining more the situation at hand, and what was going on. I remember somebody telling me that my comic looks wordy. It's like, it's like just by flipping through that it's a lot of dialogue. And at first I thought they meant that it's like, oh, you really need to edit a lot of that, edit that out. And when I went over issue 1 to fix up, it seems like I have a thing with commas. I'm either putting in too many or not enough.
Right.
And I realized that it's like, no, I can't edit this story more than I have already. It's like, look, it's like, yeah, is there a lot of dialogue? Yes, but there's a lot of information that I want to convey. And especially after writing the next scene, they're lucky that I edited it down as much as I did, because I do really explain more in the next scene that doesn't really appear in this book, that you kind of have, it kind of like is inferred, and you kind of like, Jay says, I like if there's more stuff in the novelization, like watching a movie then reading the book afterwards. Yeah,
Right.
How many of you in the chat did that when you were younger? I mean, reading movie novelizations was my jam when I was, in grade school. Like, I think like my 3 favorite, I had 3 favorite novelizations. It was the novelization to The Empire Strikes Back, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I absolutely loved reading movie novelizations when I was younger. I don't read much. I mean, I don't read that type of stuff now, although you know what? Joseph Linsner had posted an excerpt from the novelization of Escape from New York. Snake Plissken. And he posted it because he says that I guess he was able to find a copy of it and he just loved it. And he posted pages of it. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this isn't so bad. Maybe I should, because I tell you the truth, I never watched the movie Escape from New York, but I was riveted by the novel, by the novelization. So what I was reading on the screen. So that was like, I really enjoyed, and I kind of think that also where that probably comes from, as well, and that's the thing. It's like, it's like, because also this is the thing too, that, like, don't get it twisted. Writing a novel based on a comic is not the same thing, because I can try to be one-to-one, but again, even on an opening scene that simple, there was still a lot of stuff I had to add to it to kind of like make it make more sense in a novel form. Just like you can't really do a one-to-one translation from a novel to a comic. It's like I've mentioned this many times, and I think, and again, it's like, and I think that that's where we're going to see a lot of people, a lot of these people making this transition. That's the mistake they're going to be making. Just like how we kind of don't have patience for screenwriters or think that comics are the same thing. Oh, it's just a one-to-one to a movie, and it's like, no, it's not. We're going to see a lot of these aspiring authors realize that comics and novels are not one-to-one as well. And that it's like, because, and also, sometimes you end up telling a different story depending on the medium. Because like I said, when I wrote Cult of the Wolf Witch, sure, the story, I could have done it as a comic. Like, say I was 20 years younger, I could have done it as a comic. But it would have been a different story than what I want to tell. It would have been the same story, but being in the comic format, I would have had to tell it from a different angle for it to make sense in a comic than what I'm able to do, than the story I wanted to tell, that I did want to tell in the novel. Like, the story would have to be, the comic would have to be more action oriented to be in the novel, to be in a comic book. Cult of the Wolf Witch, if I did it as a comic, would be a story about EGORAVEN fighting this Eldritch witch with the help of this werewolf clan, right? And then fighting another werewolf clan in the meantime. So she's in the middle of a werewolf war, and with this witch, also in the middle. That would have been the story in the comic. In the novel, that is background noise. That werewolf war is background noise to the story that the story that I wanted to make the focus, which is, EGORAVEN and Daniel trying to make a relationship work, and then Loki shows up, trying to lay claim. So that's the story I wanted in the novel. That's the story I wanted to tell. I could only tell it as a novel, though. Right. Because as much as I thought about it, it wouldn't work as a comic. It'd be boring as fuck, So yeah. So it's like so like I said, it's not just like, oh, I can't afford to finish my comic, so let me do it as a novel, right? It's like it's not just like, oh, I'm you're just doing one or the other. It's like, no, it requires a completely different mindset to write that novel, even if you're writing from a comic book story you wrote already. And that's what I'm especially learning with this. With Cult of the Wolf Witch, I was really starting from scratch. I had an outline. I was working, working, all my beats through, but I didn't think about that project as a comic at all. I wasn't thinking. I mean, there's certain scenes that I really, really tried to visualize, because that's kind of like how I write. It's like I think of a scene and then I try to describe it. And it's like, so yeah, like even something as simple as there was a scene where EGORAVEN enters a manor, and I wanted to describe her walking into that foyer and what she saw. So I went online and I did a Google search for like all these, like English manors, hunting manors and hunting lodges and shit. And I found one that kind of was closest to what I was imagining. And then I would put that picture on the screen while I was writing. And then the goal was like, okay, what do I see in this picture? How do I describe it? So that whoever's reading the book kind of gets this idea that I have on the screen. Right. So that's how, that's how I'm thinking when I'm writing a novel. It's, with this is really, this is kind of interesting. So kind of like a variation of that. So I'm looking at, these pages, I'm looking at these pages and I'm like going, okay, how do I describe this? What's going on in these panels in prose? How do I verbally describe this? Right. And then I adjust accordingly. It's like, so even though I'm still working from the panels, like, okay, how do I, especially this scene, it's like when the blade comes out, it's like, how do I describe this? And I'd like to think that what I read, it pretty much does justice to the scene, that it's like, it gives you that sense of what's going oh yeah no, definitely Amazon.
They do, but yeah. I hear from the authors after the first 3 months it's a nightmare to move anything.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. Hey Grant. Yeah, no, it's like yeah, you missed my first my reading, my story time when I read the first chapter of me novelizing
thank you, sir.
Thank you. Issue 1. So yeah, so I think that maybe the next scene I'll read on the next show, just to kind of like, okay, this is where I am right now, because I thought that was fun. I don't know about you guys. Did you guys? I mean, it's like, honestly, it's like, do you guys want to hear me read more of my prose on the show? Just for shits and giggles, or it's like you'd rather I just move on? So, I don't know. Uh, so that's kind of where I'm at right now, Nita. What do you have any kind of like final thoughts on this?
I never have final thoughts. I say my thoughts as they come. You know this.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it's like there's no like real wrapping up.
Not with me.
Right. That's true.
Not with this ADHD brain.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blurt it while we're going through it.
Right. So I hope you enjoyed that little snippet of my prose that I read. Like I said, if you want to hear me read more of my writing on the show, just leave a comment, either in the chat or it down below if you're watching this on the replay. Just leave a comment saying that you want to hear more, and then maybe we'll make it kind of like a regular thing that we do, just so that you guys can just like, I don't know, be exposed to different things. I don't know.
Be exposed.
Yes, be exposed. No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, Daphne.
Oh my God. That is
gold,
so
dude. This
painful.
is the equivalent of the B movies that I love, bro.
It is not.
I did not know B porn existed. This is B porn.
Like, I don't like I said, I don't even understand like what was even the point of writing that, and like I said, the guy got his panties in a twist when people were goofing on it, and he, like I said, he tried to make it sound like, oh,
an award-winning panty twist.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's like, and the thing is, though, and like I said, in the end, the more I thought about it, the more irritated I was at it, because like I said at the beginning of the show, it's like, I would like to read more erotica by guys, because I would like to read
from a male perspective.
Right, it's like everything that I read, even if it is from the male character's perspective, it's a woman writing it.
Right.
And it's like, and sometimes I kind of like sit back and I go, is this accurate? Like, is this what's really happening? And that's why I would, but if that's the shit you're going to give me, I'll pass. I mean, really, it's like, because all that paragraph, it's like all that paragraph tells me is that he just really didn't care.
Oh, because all it tells me is this dude needs to get laid for real.
Supposedly he has 2 kids.
Okay, so it was an accident.
And right, yeah, and he doesn't mind having teeth scraped against, rattling. He doesn't mind.
Hey, look, some
rattling.
guys get into that. Some guys like that little.
Right.
When you pull back, they do. I'm just saying.
But that's not what that.
No, but that's not what that paragraph meant at all.
Not what. Yeah. No. I mean, it's like. I mean, talk about. I mean, obviously he's one of these guys that it's like, let me just get this over with.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. That's honestly, that's what that reads as.
I love that 3-minute magic.
That's not even 3 minutes.
It's 30 seconds.
Yeah, really. It's like, it probably, it probably takes just as long as what, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't see the point of it. And that's, no. I'm just going to go back to reading the book, the Myra Danvers book. I'm just going to read that entire chapter again from yesterday. That was just like, it was an entire chapter. She gave me an entire fucking chapter to dwell on, and even at the end of it, I still wanted to throw my Kindle against the wall, because it's like, how dare you?
How dare you edge me like this?
How dare you do that? No, for real. I mean, how dare you? How dare you? I mean, and then to wake up to this nonsense. Talk about a mood killer. Actually, it wasn't a mood killer. It just made you.
You loved it. You loved it.
Jesus fucking Christ. So that's where we are right now. So thank you, everybody in the chat, for joining us for this absolutely ridiculous Monday. And thank you so much for my beautiful eyeball people for also withstanding this hour of, I don't know what you were expecting, but that's okay.
You're the real MVPs.
Yeah, you're the real MVPs. It's like, because look, I don't know what you were expecting, but that's okay. We didn't know we were expecting either. You never know. We just make this up as we go along. So I guess so if Nita has no final words, I'm just going to continue. And it's like, so if you're interested in reading more, or reading, yes, exactly, because reading, seeing my artwork, seeing my portfolio, the whole thing, what campaigns are coming up. If you want to learn more about me and what I do, you can head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites, but I mostly post to Facebook. If you are interested in seeing sketches, current work in progress, it's like clips of my novel that I'm going to be putting up. If you want to read some of that as well, just head on over to Facebook, and if you want to see videos on how I do my books, my comics, and join me for my semi-weekly art live streams on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. Join me at my YouTube channel at Daphne Lage Art, that's Lage, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. So remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you get notified whenever any of our shows go live. Also, you can read EGORAVEN, Heir of the First Unicorn, for free, uploading every day, Monday through Friday. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure, you can follow the link over to Tall Tales. That's TAILS online.com. And not only can you read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free, you can catch up on the latest story arc, Tears of the Mother, which is also currently uploading Monday through Friday. So thank you so much again, everybody, for joining us today. Like I said, if you want to hear me read more from excerpts from my novels, just leave a comment, leave a comment in the chat, or leave a comment in the comment section if you're watching this on the replay. I hope you liked what I read so far. Thank you so much for joining us today. And in the words of the ancients, eat your food, moisturize, mind your business, and do the work. Because when you actually do the work, you never have to fake any of your accomplishments. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time. Toodles.